I wrote the perfect song for this podcast intro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not around.
Somebody's Rona is drowning my mask drop. Somebody's cold cough is giving me chills. Guess I'll just close my eyes. Oh yeah. Say it ain't so. We got Rona. Whoa, what happened, guys?
Whoa!
Oh man!
Wow!
Wait, were
How
you
did
really
it happen?
playing that mouth whistle? That
Oh
little
yeah,
whistle thing?
yeah, definitely.
How did this happen? Okay, before we get into it, all right, so we had a little outbreak in the studio, and it sucks because it happened, we're pretty far into this, and it happened legit on the day that everyone got vaccinated.
Yep.
Yeah.
It couldn't be funny. It couldn't be more ironic timing. Like, everyone went out and got vaccinated, and then like people were like, is this just the symptoms? And then, over the course of the last week, it's just been like everyone's been getting tested constantly, and it's just been like half negatives, half positives. Yeah. So it's been rough. Nick, I mean, you've had it kind of the worst.
I think I might have been the super spreader.
Yeah, patient zero in the office, right?
Yeah. So I think it was Monday when we were filming the Linus Tech Tips video because it seems like everyone who was in that room got it as well. So
yeah,
we're in an enclosed space filming all day long. And I just remember on Monday, I'm like, man, I should turn the AC up. It's kind of hot in here. Now I know why that felt like that. But
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's I feel like we'd just been like neoing these bullets, just dodging them for like a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has,
Yeah.
Especially
so
when you're trying to film, when you're trying to get together and film anything, like, there's 15 people, like, and to everyone's credit, like, everyone's been doing a very good job of being conscious of it. But I just think, like, there's been enough cases at this point. It's been out there enough, like, it's like any illness, like, you're bound to come into contact with it at some point, and it's just, that was our time.
Yep.
Yeah. I still feel like freaking I'm in the Matrix though, because I have no idea how I didn't get it.
I don't. I mean, maybe you have natural antibodies. Some people do.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a little bit of this.
Did you get the vaccination?
There's a vaccine for
you.
Yeah. So I was in the car with Peter, Griffin, and Daniel, and we were all like super hyped about it. Like, oh, we just got the vaccine. Oh, hell yeah, we're in the clear now. And
was that last Monday, or was that what was that like last?
That was on
mid last week.
Thursday.
I think that was Thursday. Yeah, we went on Thursday. Yeah, so we're about a week in of getting the vaccine.
Yeah. And Griffin got it, and then Daniel, me, and Peter are still testing negative. So it's like
and Ren.
Yeah, and Ren. Yeah,
which is odd because he was in the room with us filming, as was Peter.
But he got vaccinated earlier than everyone else.
Ren did get his vaccine.
So it could have been that he just didn't show symptoms, but he did get tested, didn't he?
So he said.
I believe he did, because you can still get Rona if you have a vaccine.
Right, you just don't get symptoms as bad.
Yeah, and I thought it was more like you pass it on less too. Like you're not really passing it on. Yeah, and I didn't get tested positive till freaking yesterday, and
which is crazy. Just for the
super
record,
delayed.
That's like 7 days. That's a full week after I started exhibiting symptoms. So that's crazy. I mean, when they say it takes 10 days to like gestate,
that's the
apparently
case
true.
right
That's a key example right there.
Yeah, very Very interesting.
Unless I picked it up from, like, I guess if I missed it on the Monday session, but then I got it from Nico on the Thursday session.
Could have been.
But
So
I don't know.
at this point, I know more people who have gotten it than have not.
Yeah, I guess.
In my close group of friends and stuff. Like,
Did you have it?
I did not, but all of my neighbors did,
Wow.
and then now half of the studio has. So that, and then all the Black Rifle guys pretty much did. And that's like 2 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're up to 5 now in the studio. 5 total.
Yep.
Wow.
So what's weird is
testing.
that sometimes like people who live together, one person will get it and the other person won't, even though they were like in the same circumstances. And
Interesting.
yeah, but I guess that's kind of like, like sometimes that happens with other illnesses too. But it seems like given the high rate of contagiousness that wouldn't be the case. But yeah.
It definitely is very contagious.
So
yeah, the
Nick
fact
and Christian, how are you guys feeling?
Let's see. So I started getting symptoms on Tuesday, I think. Even though I was, I guess, spreading it on Monday. Started feeling like shit on Tuesday. Peaked like Wednesday, Thursday with a fever. Thursday I lost my taste, my smell. Still haven't gotten it back. But it's just been a slow getting better since then. Every day I feel better, but still just overall like sick feeling. But honestly, I've had worse flus before. I mean, my fever was not that high comparatively. I felt much worse. It's kind of like a cold without the actual congestion.
Okay.
One of the worst parts was the sinus pain. And I've heard this from a couple other people was like, it feels like there's something stuck up in your sinus and it gives you kind of that headache behind your eyes. And that happened right as I lost my smell and my taste. So it's probably correlated, but that went away after a couple days. So this week it's just been waking up every day feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
And hopefully it continues. So
What have you been doing? Just getting rest and like drinking water and all the normal
Dude.
stuff?
all I do is hydrate. Literally,
Yeah.
I just...
All I do is hydrate.
All I do is hydrate. No, really. I mean, that's, the appetite's been so-so, especially when you can't taste or smell. So,
Yeah.
kind of, it's like who is it, Barbarossa, or was it Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean? He's like,
yeah.
wine turns, wine and food turns to ash in your mouth. Yeah. So that's what it's like. But,
To taste nothing, to feel nothing.
dude. Exactly. It's been a little bit of like cabin fever going on though. Trying to get out and do a walk every day. Trying to play some guitar every day.
What have you been doing for food sustenance throughout all this?
Amazon Fresh, man.
Yeah.
Sorry to plug Bezos here.
That
I mean, it's convenient, man.
$33,000 $3,300 stock price.
Jeez.
That's crazy,
So
man.
I've just been
nuts.
doing that and cooking a lot. So
Good.
yeah. Eating a lot of citrus.
Yeah, I have a completely different
that help?
experience. I mean, I wasn't feeling anything at all. I was like kind of like, feeling pretty good about it because everyone was rolling in with the negatives. I'm like, man, I think I dodged a bullet. I feel pretty healthy. I like even kept working out over the weekend. And then it was just like went to bed on Monday night and I just kind of had the sweats and woke up on Tuesday and it just felt like fatigued and like I guess my bones just kind of felt achy, but that was kind of it. But I was just like, this is kind of weird. So that's when I went and got tested and then it came back positive. So, I mean, but otherwise, like, yeah, taste and smell still intact. Just a little kind of like tired and sore kind of thing. And there's like a cough, but I feel like that's like totally mental. Like I'm only coughing when I think about it. It's not like, it's totally like I'm
That's
forcing
kind
myself
of how
to cough.
mine is. Exactly. It's not like it like you get that tickle or like the phlegm coming. It's just like
Yeah, exactly. Like I
You're
don't
gonna
have
cough
any phlegm. I'm just kind of
sometimes,
like, I need to cough. Like it's
Yep.
weird. But otherwise, so far, like
It's like
I
a
actually
dry cough.
feel healthy. It's just, at the night it's a little sweaty and I don't know.
All right. Well,
It's
since
super weird.
we're all sharing our symptoms over here, there was actually some craziness just getting the vaccine. It was like a lot like more intense than I thought it was going to be.
Which one did you get?
We got the J&J, the old Johnson.
You got that pre-ban J&J shot?
Yeah, the pre-ban.
That's what I got too.
Yeah, that's the real spicy stuff. That's like the Four Loko when it first came out.
Right,
It's
exactly.
like, I might die, I might not. I don't know. We'll find out.
Now, do you guys think it's like right that they banned the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because
Well, they
had
paused it.
complications?
They paused
Okay.
it.
They're gonna
Yeah.
do more trials.
Yeah, which is fair.
Was
I
it
think.
only 6 people or?
That's what I heard. I
6
don't
women
know.
got it? Yeah,
of them, yeah.
got
One
hit
of them
pretty hard with it.
critical, one who passed.
They were like blood clots or something, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a tough call because they're not that I'm an expert in this. I'm just gonna say, like, from an outside perspective, the thing that you need to maintain is like the integrity of when the FDA says this is good, And so I think that is probably more up in the mind than like the cost to value or the ratio of like what that is, because obviously, like, if you lose that integrity, it's very, very hard to get back.
Yeah.
Especially in a time like this. So that, I mean, maybe that's where their heads are at, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it to speak beyond that, honestly.
Yeah, I think there's enough options out there that I don't think it's a bad thing that they recalled it and tried to, like, really get it working right.
But you got in just in time, Matt.
And I got it just in time. Yeah.
And you said you felt symptoms, like, because it
perfect-
seemed like
Oh,
most
yeah.
people in our studio did.
Yeah.
After they got it.
Yeah, it was pretty intense because, like, they say that it's like one day, one and done, and I was like, oh, then it's not gonna really be that bad. And I think everyone is affected a little bit differently by it, but for me it was like body aches everywhere. It actually lasted like 2 days where I was like pretty shot.
Wow.
And then into the weekend I was still feeling a little bit like, drowsy and just it felt like everything that you'd feel from in terms of like body aches and everything from a flu, but without all the other symptoms, like there was no
Okay.
congestion or sore throat or anything like that. But
Okay.
yeah, it was pretty intense. It wasn't not my favorite couple of
Do
days.
you feel like $1 million now?
No, I feel the same. I feel about the same, maybe a little bit more vaccinated than I was before, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to get it? I don't know if this is our impromptu science course, but are you supposed to get it after you've had it? Like, Nick, are you supposed to go out and get it? Because you didn't get the vaccine.
No, I was literally
you were
feeling the
about
full
to.
effects, and then you guys posted that photo of everyone with their shots. I'm like, ugh, no,
And
the worst timing.
And you're not supposed to get it while you have it. That's for sure.
No, and
Right.
what I've heard is they want you to wait. I think what is it? 90 days, I believe.
man.
I've heard everywhere from 1 month from some people, and then I've heard 3 months from others. 90 days. So, they say you're supposed to
Okay.
get it, but you're supposed to wait because I guess you have these antibodies already. That natty vaccine. So, I'll probably just wait a while. But it seems like the information's changing quite frequently on this. So,
Yeah, well,
we'll just
we're
see.
constantly learning.
yeah.
Like, think about how much different the perception of this is than what it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, everything from just like what we know to how to deal with it to what you should and shouldn't do depending on who you are and how you are. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's pretty crazy that it's been over a year
Oh, yeah.
since it
Yeah,
all went
I know.
down.
Yeah.
It's been
A hell of a year.
What is up, my sons and daughters? That's right. Today's episode is sponsored by Storyblocks, and I'm here to tell you why we use them all the time at Corridor Digital, and why you should consider using them too. They're the one-stop shop for all of our stock asset needs, meaning that anytime we need high-quality B-roll, audio assets, After Effects templates, motion graphics, things like that, we head on over to storyblocks.com/corridorcast, and with our unlimited all-access plan, we scour the virtually unlimited library that they have for the fresh pieces of B-roll and stock assets that we need. They are constantly updating that virtually unlimited library, so we almost never run into the same thing twice. And
with that all access plan, it's royalty free. So it's easy, it's simple to use, it's high quality, and you can use it in anything. And if you're part of a team, they also have enterprise plans, which allow larger teams to get on there and for all of them to have access. If you guys are interested, consider checking it out. That's storyblocks.com/corridorcast. All right, see you guys later. Back to the podcast.
I mean, good news is, especially for y'all Californians out there, the tail of cases has significantly dropped off, and that's with reopening. Same thing out here in Texas. It's they continue to drop off, and everything's open. So I see that as all good.
Yeah, we should be all better after it. We'll all be antibodies, and we'll know we've had it, or some people have had it and gotten vaccinated. So my
biggest concern is like my mother-in-law.
Yeah,
totally. She lives with us. She's in her 60s. Like, she's doesn't have the greatest like health record to begin with. She's not like in rough shape or has any like significant underlying causes, but at the same time, I'm just like, that's my biggest concern.
I think that's the concern. The elderly folks, the people with pre-existing conditions. Is it worth the response? Lots of people have different opinions on that, but I know that I was scared for my grandparents and even my parents. It's not like they're crazy old or anything, but still.
That guy's like 95. Okay, so go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was gonna say it's really cool that like every like elderly person I know at least has been vaccinated. So we're getting there. So, I was finally able to break my grandpa out of the retirement home.
Just go up with a crowbar, break him out.
They wouldn't let anyone visit. They wouldn't let them out. I can't imagine being in there for a year.
Well, because that makes more sense to me than like having kids wear masks. Because you think about an outbreak in a school with a bunch of kids, it's like, well, they're kids. The death rate's really low. They're not gonna, and even like our age, we had this mini outbreak, and it's like, people are feeling pretty bad, but they're not, no one is at risk of any further complications or anything. But you imagine an outbreak at a place like that, son,
there's
it's
good
already
reason for it.
Right. So. But anyways, what I really wanted to get to was like, okay, when you're we're releasing 5 videos a week right now. Like, what do you do when like half of the people that you're working with like are just out, Like how do you bear that as a creator? That's really what I want to talk about today.
Interesting. I feel like we were set up for a little bit more success, partly because of circumstance of like the videos we were releasing this week, but also because we'd like been working remotely, since, we had like 2 months when we were almost working remotely entirely.
Yeah.
And I feel like that gave us the tools we need to be able to like at least keep communication up and stuff. But no, it's limiting, man. And like, this Linus Tech Tips video, you'll notice that the latter part of the video is all shot from Nico's backyard.
Right.
So you have to adapt and find ways to tell the story you're trying to tell from home. So.
Yeah, the infrastructure thing, like the digital infrastructure, we have this pretty extensive Discord server now that didn't exist a year ago. Remember when we first started and we were trying to figure out like, okay, what platform should we use and all that stuff. Thankfully, we got our internal servers figured out via Kim and Spencer. But then, then we started using Discord, and it really is adaptable for us. I think like with the video channels, the text channels, like the subgroups, all that stuff. That's been really, really nice. And having that in our back pocket to just kind of like constantly, we're constantly using it, but just to have it there to lean on, is a really, really good thing. Like and that's been built up over the course of the last year. You think like if we would have got hit early or, in other circumstances, if you just have half your people out from any other illness, like you don't have that. You just have to put everything on pause. you know.
Yeah, it's
And-
almost it's almost like we had this pandemic response already going because, like you said, like we made the Discord server because of the first wave and when we all went into lockdown, and like that was us adapting and figuring out how to make that situation work. And so, you know, now that we're actually getting hit by it, it's like a hybrid of it because you know some people can go in and do it, but like we still had that infrastructure like ready to go. So it's super helpful. I didn't feel like we had to delay too much or change too much up this week at least because we had that.
It created like a kind of a stepping stone for Jake for you to be able to work remotely and make that like that was only possible really through Discord.
Yeah,
for you to be able to just like
pick up and move
virtual
to
Jake
Texas.
popping up on my computer.
turn into Jake.
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah.
It made it feel like you were still in the studio in a lot of ways, and that was super important.
Yeah, that was I think like critical. That's why whenever I'm talking about like my experience of like now working remotely all the time or 90% of the time, that I always tell people like that lockdown was a blessing in disguise for us because it allowed us to come up with that and then for us to carry that over when I moved. And honestly, it's been pretty smooth, all things considered, for how much, and like Nick, the other day, you and Sam and I were filming something together, even though you guys were in LA and I was out here. I had you on Discord and I had my camera set up right here, and you guys were walking me through like the scene because how would we have been able to do that otherwise? It would have, because it's such an interactive.
The little lower thirds guys, Sam popping up for the functional filmmaking for any context.
Like they were literally able to direct you while being in completely different areas.
Right. You could have written me an email.
Try these things.
Or you could have called me, but it like, being able to visually see me and then see me do the takes and then like give your natural, just direct response to it is so much better than doing things other ways. So yeah, I think the first takeaway is like, for people out there that are kind of wondering like, well, how do we get through situations like this? The first and foremost thing is don't wait to have your infrastructure in place, and now, well, ours sort of occurred serendipitously. We did have Slack and we were transitioning like to a more digital method of communication prior to the lockdowns last year, but that obviously sped it up. But I guess, saying like, don't wait, because you want those infrastructures in place so that when you do have a rainy day, you have something to fall back on and call back on that's already there and that's already functioning. So that's been, I think, something I've been thinking about.
And I think we'll see lasting impacts in our workflow. I mean, we already have. We use Discord every single day. I mean, I communicate with people when I'm in the studio with people over Discord.
Yeah.
Because it's easier than going and searching,
Right.
because now like
Right.
the studio is like huge and sometimes you lose people. So it just ping them on Discord. So yeah, I mean,
That thumbnails.
imagining a time when we didn't have Discord now is kind of weird. Like I'm trying to think like, how did we shop thumbnails and like, how did we like,
Oh yeah, dude. No, you guys were just like, I
would
remember
just-
when I first started working here, like the whole thing was just on like a whiteboard. You guys were all just standing around like mad scientists,
Yeah.
trying to
What
concoct
is this,
thumbnails.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
what if you did this?
Sure.
And
like
then
a
we'd-
beautiful mind, like just on
Yeah,
the
it was.
whiteboard.
It was, man. And then we'd stand around and critique each other and like critique the framing with these janky hand-drawn draw erase board images.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like
you'd have to, like-
hieroglyphics.
You'd have to like walk over to Griffin's desk where he can just upload like, hey, here's a version. What do you guys think? And it's like so much more efficient. It's
Yeah,
pretty
and quite
wild.
frankly, it was a little distracting sometimes because y'all would get into arguments about it and stuff, and I'd just be here trying to edit. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
got a little rowdy.
And then
So,
we
yeah.
would constantly reference Google Trends.
Yeah.
Still do.
Google Trends was our I mean, it still is. Yeah, it's our. Like I don't know if y'all invest out there, but like that the idea of having Google Trends is basically the equivalent of our stock price checker, where we go in and we check the history of the usage of terms over time to see if they're commonly used and relevant compared to other terms. It's actually a really useful tool.
Very. If you're trying to figure out how to max out your title, like, I guess,
Beef it up.
how popular, how well it's going to perform, Google Trend it. You know, like, is it we made a new Scorpion King or we built a new Scorpion King? I can't decide. Go to Google Trends. Maybe it'll let you know. You know.
Ren actually mentions that as one of his techniques in his functional filmmaking episode.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which comes out next week. Shameless plug.
Shameless.
How
dare you.
Yeah.
Wait, did a Sam's episode drop today?
I dropped it last night.
Hey.
Dude, what's going on out there? Is there an emergency?
Dude, freaking, I live in downtown LA, man. It's all happening all the time.
Okay. You probably got a probably got a helicopter right outside of your window, man.
Probably.
Christian's on the 100th floor of some skyrise down there now.
He hears all the sounds of downtown.
It's on like the 800th floor.
That high-rise living, dude.
How tall is that building, Christian? I don't know if he can hear us. He might have stepped away.
Yeah, he did.
He went to go ask them. He's like, "Hey, can you pipe down, please?
I'm filming over here.
Don't fly in my airspace, please. Come on."
How tall is that building you're in?
33.
Okay.
I'm on the 29th.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's very high. I'm not scared of heights, but I definitely don't put myself voluntarily into high situations, like if I can avoid it. And when I went out onto your balcony and looked over,
yeah, I'm surprised at how many people kind of get sketched out when they like get on the
like,
balcony. They're like, whoa, like they don't want to like lean over.
Yeah.
What kind of hits you? Like, wow, I'm looking straight down. Oh man.
I can remember when I was a kid and my dad was like, okay, we're going to paint the house this summer. And my dad was a carpenter, so he knew what he was doing, and he built houses, and and so we had this scaffolding, and it was like 3 stories high, this scaffolding on this one side of the house. And I was pretty young, so I every time I'm in a very high up situation, I always remember that scaffolding. And it was, and I don't know if you've ever been on scaffolding. It's not like being on a balcony of a well-built building. It sways in the wind, and it moves, and it rickets, and it's all tied together with like these little clamp downs, by hand.
Jeez.
Sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that sketchy, but at the same time, like people fall off of it pretty regularly, so it's.
So it sounds like it's kind of sketchy.
It's a little sketchy.
It's a little bit sketchy.
I saw this thing about scaffolding. Sorry, Christian.
No, go ahead. You hit it.
So apparently in New York City, the scaffolding industry is like a huge, well, some people say racket, some people say business, because apparently buildings in New York. So I don't know the date, but I think in like the 50s it was, a brick fell off a building, like the siding of a building fell off and killed a lady. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, the city had put in an ordinance that says like something crazy small, like every like 15 years or so. I'm probably saying this wrong, but like there's a crazy high turnaround for when you have to reside your whole building. You have to get it inspected, redone. So the scaffolding industry has become this like billion-dollar industry, and like there's never not scaffolding in New York now. It's a huge problem because it's super, like people hate it. People have to walk under it. It's like a huge health concern apparently. So it's just this whole thing, and it's just, you would never think that scaffolding is like this huge controversial thing, but basically it's like one more expense of being a business owner or a building owner in New York is, guess what? Every couple of years you gotta pay the scaffolding mob.
I can't even imagine
like, the mob.
Trying to own a building, trying to own a building in Manhattan. Like I cannot even. The amount of nonsense you would have to deal with on a daily basis is beyond. Imagine what Steve went through when they came down, because there was that big fire in that artist's building in Oakland up north.
That warehouse
remember?
thing? Yeah.
And it killed a bunch of people, and then eventually they went after the landlord because the violations were so egregious. Like it was a situation where the law is saying, how could you not have done something? Because nobody else would have allowed it, like how they had it. And the way that Steve had the building, like back in the day, was, a tiny version of that, in the sense that, people had built out on like parts of the studios without, any sort of supervision or professional contractors or anything at all.
Do you remember what 4 looked like 10 years ago? It was like a little shanty town inside 4.
In Studio
Where
5.
Oh, sorry, Studio 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like literally sub buildings. It felt like you were in a little like Japanese fishing village or something, because they had like the Japanese paper walls everywhere, like subdividing it. It was so odd.
It was this guy Che that used to live out of there, and he had it subletted to 6 different people at any given time.
Oh my God.
And he lived in there. And
get out of here.
And at one point, the mail, Spencer was telling me this, for Studio 5, they had over 20 different addresses going to that studio.
Oh my gosh.
And I still remember, like when elections would come around and they'd send out the mail-in ballots, like how many mail-in ballots would arrive?
Like a whole forest.
Dude, it was like all these different names. Like
You could rig an election just from that location.
Dude, it was wild. It was just like the Wild West down there. And so anyways, this building burned down in Oakland, and it was an artist building. And then the city of LA obviously, started thinking, oh, well, we don't want that to happen to us. We got to do everything we can. So they went to all the residential art zoned buildings that were the same zoning as the one that burned down up north. And they just hammered the landlords. Now imagine that, but in New York. It's like,
Well, that was the stretch of Steve coming in, and he had to put in like 5 fire extinguishers at like every entrance. Like he came in and just did everything to make sure that he wasn't going to get sit in that situation.
And then his brickest, he had to go up against this guy that we put this out in the Quarter Crew video, but Steve was going on one day about this guy who he had to pass inspections through. And the guy was, we started calling him a brickist because he was so unrationally anti-brick building that there was no other word for this guy.
Just hates bricks.
Yeah.
I hate the cut of them.
I hate it when they're stacked up. I see a brick stacked up.
We should show him our concrete Jenga video. He'd love that.
Oh yeah. That'd be perfect. We should get his email from Steve.
Oh,
and just
man.
send it to him.
Dude, I wonder what happened. Like,
Brickist
I
Unite.
think that we were saying like his daughter was like killed in a brick accident. Like,
His daughter was that lady in the 50s in New York.
Exactly.
God.
Maybe that was his like great grandmother.
No, it's funny. We studied that case in law school. I remember that case.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
pretty famous case, about negligence and stuff.
Interesting.
But the same, so New York is full of this stuff, and we don't really think about it out west, because like the history of how it was built is a little bit different. But for example, the reason why I think it's LaGuardia Airport doesn't have subway access is because of the taxi union in the 1970s when LaGuardia was built. They lobbied against the subway going to the airport. So all the subways end within like a mile of LaGuardia, and then you have to take a taxi. It's the most janky like reverse way of doing something.
Those unions, man, they're powerful.
Dude, yeah, and then I could totally see the same thing going down for the scaffolding.
Oh, dude, it's a mob. I'm pretty sure it's a mob.
Have you ever
They're like,
seen?
Hey, you need some scaffolding?
Have you ever seen The Other Guys with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg? And Will Ferrell's on the case about a scaffolding violation.
I forgot that, but it's extremely relevant, man. I gotta rewatch that. It's been a while.
That movie, man.
That's what desk pop is from, right? We use
Yes,
that all the time.
desk pop,
yes.
It's like, what, you never had a desk pop? A little.
Hey, Swanson, when was your last desk pop? September 08.
Oh Oh, you haven't done a
That's
desktop?
like a-
gotta
You
do
never done a
this.
desktop? Oh, let me tell you something. We honor the flag, and you crap all over it when you don't do a desktop. Really, guys? I don't need to do a desktop. Oh my god.
So funny. And then he does it.
Yeah.
And then everyone freaks out. Like,
That's become a household term now with like me and my gaming buddies. Whenever someone accidentally fires their weapon in like PUBG or like whatever, you go, oh shit, sorry, that was just desktop.
Yeah,
Sorry.
dude, we do the same thing. Yeah. It's too
Little
relevant.
desktop.
It's so good, man. I watch that movie like once a year just to stay fresh on the takes.
Will Ferrell. Oh man, I just
It's-
rewatched Eastbound and Down, and I forgot Will Ferrell's cameo in that is like
Yes.
the weirdest thing ever.
He's the
don't
car,
even
he's the
remember.
car
Yeah,
salesman.
he's the car
Yeah.
salesman, dude. He's just oh man,
That show is amazing.
so funny, so funny. Poor Stevie, man. Most tragic character in television, I think. Stevie.
Yeah.
Like no one gets the bottom side of the boot like him. But
No. Yeah. You know it's coming though, so at least you know that.
he welcomes
Yeah.
it.
That show and Trailer Park Boys are. I mean, I
Oh,
think Eastbound and
classic.
Down has a little bit more like known recognition, but Trailer Park Boys is. Wendy doesn't understand it. I think it's a masterpiece.
Dude, that's same with Erica as well. You either like it or you don't, and like
Yeah.
I feel like those who do, it's like it has the ability when you hear that opening theme song to just like calm you and like it just takes you away to this place. For
That
such a
theme
low budget
song-
show,
Yeah.
it's insane the atmosphere they're able to build in that show.
Right, and the backstories and the writing is
funny, dude.
the writing is consistent. It's so consistent through the seasons and through the episodes. It's
Oh
it's
my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard to make something like that feel authentic. Like you're actually in there, like as if it's a documentary. And it really feels like it with that show.
It's
that's-
some like Saskatchewan or like Alberta trailer park, like in the middle of the
Yeah.
country of Canada. It's so
Nova
good.
Scotia, maybe, I think.
No, Nova Scotia's on the east. I think it's set in Saskatchewan.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. Who knows?
That's
but
what a Canadian
it's-
told me anyway.
It's a real gem.
That intro song is actually an old honky tonk like country and western song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
just sampled. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
I
it's
could-
sampled.
I could see that. Mm-hmm. It's really funny, like seeing also like how they like the trailer park actually changes over the years because they had to get different sets and then
Yeah.
like eventually they like built their own custom one. But dude, those guys are oh man, they have such a good thing going to be able to just go out and make something and just like goof around and
Yeah.
improv it a lot of it. You know,
No lighting.
Yeah.
zero lighting,
Zero
ever.
lighting. What?
I don't have to
Did
worry
you,
about anything else with the comedy.
Did you mean point the camera and hit record? Because I heard you say something else.
I'm pretty sure the director, like at least for the first seasons, is just the one rolling camera, you know, and kind of just like
Yeah.
like off the cuff directing. So
It'd be interesting to get. I think Harley knows those guys. It'd be interesting to get them.
it is such a like the Canadian entertainment industry. I've come to find out is a very small world. So he probably knows them.
Okay.
My friend Keith actually knows a guy who knows like them and stuff. So it's very small. It's all everyone knows each other, but
Yeah.
because it's a pretty small, or it used to be a smaller industry, obviously, than Hollywood. So those guys really broke out, you know, in the comedy genre there.
Yeah. Now you have Toronto and Vancouver that are.
Yeah, I mean,
It's pretty
you got,
robust.
Stephen Fleet shooting the boys out in Toronto.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
right
out there
now.
shooting season 3.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Got to have him back on the
Friend of
React
the show.
That was
I
such a
know.
fun episode, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
Come back, Stephen.
Come on back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, back to the what do we do when people are out? I mean, because we had to move around a few videos, to accommodate for this, and that's the other thing that I wanted to mention, like being ahead on your work, is not something we always have, but like fortunately, because we had a few videos that were either in progress or were already meat racked.
Meat rack. What do you mean by that, Jake?
Oh, have we not used that term?
I don't think so.
we have a colloquial. Is that the right word? A colloquialism?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We have one of those when we refer to any time we have a video that's either in the can or done already, and it's just waiting to be released. We call it a meat rack video because it's on the meat rack. You're saving it. You're saving it for winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
The longer it's on the rack, the drier it gets.
It's true.
Sometimes
You
it gets
get
a little
dry.
too dry, and you gotta throw it out.
Sometimes we have
the
those
crispier
scraps, like,
it gets.
Yeah.
The crispier
We'll
it gets.
shoot
Those little
usually for
morsels.
like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Shave
those
off.
crispy bits, they get too dry sometimes. Like
Yeah.
the bottom of the jerky bag when it's just like, oh, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That came from our winter break, right? Because
Yep.
over the last 2 years, we've made sure that we still have some episodes coming out over the winter break. Whereas before, we kind of just took our vacation and let it go. But
Right.
to make sure that we had some React episodes come up, we had to meat rack some episodes early, and that's where the term comes from.
So we had that, and we had there's a special note announcement on Friday, by the way. I don't think we should talk about that. Let's save it for the video.
wait.
But
This
there's a
video's
special
coming out
note.
the same day, so
Yeah, same day as this. So you'll probably have seen it on Corridor Crew. There's a big note announcement. So we had that, and then also we had this viral decade video. So what is the viral decade video? Well, 10 years ago, roughly, in March, in like mid to late March, Sam and Nico dropped the original Minecraft The Last Minecart video. So we said, hey, let's do a like challenge where we make a bunch of renders that are inspired by that. And then, it'll be this collection of challenge renders, and then we'll also sell them as NFTs, and then we'll drop the Minecraft video as well. And it'll kind of be this whole like event type piece. And, through the course of some things like happening with some of the other videos, the Insta360 video that we did a few weeks back getting pushed around, then, us having to accommodate for the phase 2 launch of the website. We had this thing in the can and it was kind of floating around. So fortunately, it hit, this virus hit at the same time that we were getting ready to release that. So thankfully, Dean is still functional. And Nick, you've been, surprisingly very highly productive, I think, throughout.
Yeah,
all this.
this week I have, but last week, man, this Linus Tech Tips video that came out, today is Wednesday?
Yeah.
If anyone's wondering, that's when we're recording this. So this Linus collab just dropped today, but we actually were supposed to put that out on Sunday, last Sunday. So, but because that was my edit, and I was like hit with this flu and corona,
Right.
it was just like, gosh. And I was kind of stressing about it because it's like, it's not just a normal crew video. There's a whole other video being made in Canada by Linus and his team.
Yeah.
And not to mention Anthony like slaving over this Mac, like getting
Yeah.
it working, getting everything to like the screen capture, which was like a huge thing. Like, so there's all this stuff going into it. And it's just like, fuck, now I went and got coronavirus and it's like, I have no energy to
Now
work
you
on
done and
this.
went and got the Rhoda.
I know. So yeah, luckily we had the flexibility and they were cool about it, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
do
they
get
were great to work with.
more and more locked in to the schedule.
That
as,
was
you do big collabs and
that
stuff.
was about the worst that we had to change things around, though, honestly, because we had sort of other things that were already prepped.
Yes.
So that's I guess my second tip is like, if you can just be a little bit ahead on stuff, then you're you combine that with having something that's an infrastructure that's in place plus being a little bit ahead, and you can spend a little bit on the rainy days.
Yeah, and you can be just prepared for these situations.
Don't take that for granted. I do
For
not
sure.
take that for granted because we have never been ahead until this year really. So
Yeah.
it's only because we've expanded the team and also, I think the nature of our schedule just, like I said, it's a little bit more locked than it used to be. So that can be a good thing because it
Yeah.
gets you ahead a little bit. If hey, in 3 weeks I have to do this video, it's like, well, I can shoot it now,
Right.
if we have time. So that's
Did
been
you
nice.
did you see that Linus and Anthony, like Anthony is Linus's Spencer?
Totally.
Yeah. Oh,
Did,
yeah.
you, did you see that? I was so jealous
He's a
when I
badass.
saw that guy. I was like, They have a Spencer. Damn it, man.
I mean, if only we had a Spencer.
I know.
Should you say what the context of that curse is?
I mean, we were trying to hire Spencer, but
Yeah.
he ended up just getting hired by stress level 0.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that
Gotcha.
is what happened. Yeah,
At least he's still down the hall.
Totally.
We can do the summon
Totally.
where we all yell Spencer at the same time.
He'll show up.
He always shows up. Yeah.
Materializes.
That's the one thing. Like I would have been heartbroken had we not had that at least, But given that we can still do the Spencer call, I feel, I feel like
It's like that emergency button just in case.
Right.
We always have it.
right.
The Spencer signal in the sky.
Yeah,
I could probably do it right
we
here.
We should put
And,
one on the building. We should put
Yeah.
a Spencer light on the
Oh
building.
my gosh, dude, yes. What would it be? What would the signal, what would the sign be?
Can we make a quarter crew video about that?
A cool S.
Cool S?
Because
Yeah,
okay,
cool
so Spencer was living. He was living in San Diego County. Now he's moving back up. He's worked with Brandon and Stress Level 0 for years, so it totally makes sense why he's going that route, and he's gonna crush over there. But when he moves back up, we should find out where he lives, and then put up a light on top of the building. And then see if we can actually come up with a legitimate Spencer
signal.
I think if we could work something out with Stress Level 0, so we could at least have a beacon that illuminates in their studio when we need, Yeah, something like that. I think that's a good video idea.
A beacon that, I guess we could settle for a beacon that illuminates. It'd be way
That's
cooler if we went up to the roof, though.
And a fireman's pole, too, that goes sideways.
Well, you need some way to get Spencer outside to see the beacon. So you need like a light that says Spencer, go outside. And then you have the beacon once he goes out there,
Well, if he lives like Christian, maybe we can get him to live next to you.
Oh, then dude, you'll see that spotlight if you put it up in the sky for sure.
Because then we
Fly to
can,
the studio.
we can color it a certain color, and then, obviously the whole like symbol isn't actually. That's a thing. I don't know if most people think about that, but like if you put the bat symbol on a giant floodlight and then launched at the sky, it would just become completely diffused and totally obscured, and you wouldn't be able to see it at all.
Unless the actual scrim was like way far away from the light source.
Oh, yeah,
it's like
that's
right
true.
there.
That's true.
Yeah, and it was hitting a cloud that was perfectly flat on the bottom.
Semantics.
Yeah.
Details. Reality.
Anyway, if you guys want to see a Spencer signal, let us know, because
Yes.
I personally would really like to make that. Yeah.
Well, at least he's still close.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's
Anthony
so close.
definitely is the equivalent of Spencer, and
Yeah. he
props
is.
to him, man, for getting that. working.
I saw it in his eyes.
Yeah, they've got a good team over there for sure.
Yeah, man.
Really, they were a
Crazy.
pleasure to work with the whole process.
And he's got all these sets and people, and they
know.
just casually built this
Yeah, they're just like, we'll build this.
level 2 Mac.
So,
Yeah.
do we have to send that back? By the
And
way?
they were ready like a week before us too. They got their video
Christian,
done.
did you?
No,
do we
I
have
think
to
that's
send
ours.
it back?
I
What?
think it's ours.
Dude, I can't wait to play these games, dude.
I know Sam's going to be playing some marathon. That's for sure.
I think that is
Dude.
now our computer.
When I saw Oregon Trail on there, man.
Jake, when you come back, man, it's gonna be you and that computer when you're here staying for a week, man. Once we
Dude,
all go home, I
yeah,
know what Jake's doing. I know
Oregon
what Jake's
Trail, man.
doing. He's going to Oregon.
Should I ford the river, or should I cock the wagon and try to float it across? I don't know.
I can't tell you what to do in your Oregon Trail.
All you can do is guess, Should I
gonna
hunt? Should I hunt so often that all the animals go scarce, or should I press on? I don't know.
The only thing I know about the Oregon Trail is you can get gonorrhea.
You can get gonorrhea. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
That's
all I
like
got.
winning in Oregon
they're not
Trail.
messing
Yes,
around.
yeah,
Like
that's-
your whole family can die.
Final boss.
In
The
Oregon
final
Trail.
boss is
You
gonorrhea.
ever hear of the Donner Party? That can
Yeah,
happen
man.
to you. That can
Yeah.
happen to you, man.
We should. Oh my god, we should play as the Donner Party and see what happens.
Can you do that? Do they give
I
you
mean,
like negative buffs? for
maybe
that?
we can get
Like,
maybe we can get LTT Anthony to amend the game so that we can do that.
Oh man,
It's probably open source at this point. We could probably
Probably.
do that.
Peter could probably code that game.
There you go. Yeah.
Our resident game designer.
Yeah. Has anyone downloaded and played Smush Brethren yet, either
have not.
here or from the audience?
Oh no, not yet.
Okay.
I would be interested to hear how that works from the audience, like if it is functional. But
There is a trailer that explains how to download it,
gotcha.
but that's
cool that we
about
put
as
it
far
out.
as we go. Yeah.
I'm glad it actually like didn't just die in that video. You know,
Yeah.
who's your favorite character, guys? Let us know.
Matt. Matt is my favorite
If
character.
y'all like the slide whistle, I got a feature on it.
Is that your
He's got
attack?
a
If you
special.
want to hear more of the slide whistle, it's in the start screen of the game. I'm playing the freaking Smush Brother.
Yeah, that was so funny.
One thing we've been talking about, Sam and Nico and I, is getting back to a few corridor videos now.
Nice.
Oh,
It's about time.
that's
Yeah.
what I've been freaking craving.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
doing anything in production like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
those things are so much
yeah.
fun.
I think as we come out of this, and now, I mean, it's even easier now. We know that half the team, well, all the teams pretty much either had it or
Yeah.
vaxxed. So, so we can kind of, jump back into a few of these ideas that we've been holding on to. So I'm super excited about that. Even just today, I was going through and kind of compiling a short list of ideas that we've been holding on to for the last, year or two. So
In a minute, man.
yeah, and people have been
Since we did.
asking, and honestly, we've been itching too. It's just it was so hard with everything going on last year. It was really hard to get people together to film for that kind of stuff, and we were just doing everything we could to keep our head above water with everything else. Yeah. So
Podcast, Jordan.
come on, Matt.
Jordan's here.
Oh, hey, Jordan.
Surprise
She's here now.
guest.
Hi,
Surprise
Jordan.
guest Jordan.
Just interrupt.
Yeah, she
and I
can't
see
hear
it.
you, but
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She chooses
They said
not
hi.
to.
Just miming everything.
yeah, so we'll be getting back into the swing of that as the summer comes in, and I'm super excited for that. We'll probably put a few more ideas on the Greenlight page, for YouTube, but just, things like locations, special quarter crew episodes that'll be kind of like specifically tailored to those productions, stuff like that. We'll be all part of it. So, yeah, man.
Cool.
It'll be fun to get back in the swing of things. Just I
Yeah.
guess back to fully normal.
Yeah.
Funny that we had to get it on the tail end, but hey,
Yeah.
then we'll be able to go right back to normal.
The timing.
Literally,
The timing though is
Can't believe it.
literally ironic. It's insane.
It's like
You know
the
hilarious.
last guy to get bit by the zombie in the zombie movie.
the
like,
last
right
guy,
before
yeah.
the end,
Yeah,
Like,
dude, they got the hub. Everybody's like survival. You got your survival group, but
Dude,
one
I
guy
really
gets bit.
wanna, some of the most tragic deaths of war and like other human atrocities are when the thing is over,
yeah.
but people are still dying because one thing or another. Like when I was doing all that Civil War studying, there was this one boat, and they put all these Union soldiers on this boat, and it was this giant riverboat. And they were like, "Yeah, we're going home." And they had him like leaving Richmond or something. This thing has a boiler explode. Well, there's like 2,500 people on this boat, and like half of them died. Imagine going through 4 years of
Pence over.
the American Civil War, like pit warfare. People don't have shoes. Half your friends are dying from freaking diseases, not even from the fighting. And then you get on this boat and you're all elated to go home, and then boom.
Boiler explosion.
I would just,
Yeah, man. It happened a lot in World War One too, where like
Yeah.
after armistice was called, some people just didn't get the message,
yeah.
It happens
Have
a
you
lot.
Have you heard of that guy? Well, this happened with a lot of Japanese soldiers. Dan Carlin has a whole hardcore history on it, but there's this guy. Emoto, I think.
Oh yeah, the guy who held out
Yeah, he
for like crazy amount of time.
he did not surrender until 1976.
Crazy.
What?
Yes,
That just
it's
goes
a
to
whole-
show you the
yeah.
like mind state of the like in the indoctrination that these soldiers, everyone on every side went through. You know, Americans, Japanese,
Dude,
Germans.
But
It was just like
you should
hardcore
listen-
nationalism, man.
You should listen to the hardcore history on it because
Yeah.
the Dan Carlin, like his breakdown of it and why that happened, because it's not about like, okay, who was this guy? It's the whole thing is about how did this happen? Like, how do you get to a point where somebody's surrendering 31 years
Yeah.
after the end of a conflict?
Where
And
did he
I
even
believe
go
that's how
to?
he opens Supernova
Like,
in
what-
the East, right? He like starts with that anecdote, right? To
Right,
set up
yeah.
the whole thing. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Crazy.
the best analogy for it is like he keeps saying it throughout the podcast, like Japanese culture was like any other at the time, only more so.
Yeah.
And it's a great analogy because he ties it into all these things, and it's man, it's fascinating. But he was off on some like I think it was one of the islands of the Philippines, actually. And he was, and they dropped a bunch of pamphlets over to like try to tell him. And they even had people from the Japanese government go and tell him that the war was over. But because he had only sworn to his corporal, or not his corporal, like his colonel or something, he had only sworn to this one guy, I will not come out until you tell me the war is over. They had to drag this guy from wherever he was living in his old age to go tell this guy that the war was over. And it was only then that he stopped, that he like laid down his arms.
Oh, gee, wow.
Pretty crazy.
even-
He
what's
kept his
even-
rifle serviced. I think he
Yes.
even like shot at people, right? Didn't
Yes,
some people
he,
get
he
wounded?
He killed like
killing
6
people.
people.
Oh my
Yeah,
It's insane.
He killed
Oh
like
my
6
God.
people.
And they were just locals, I think, too, who were
Right.
just like kind of like going, walking down a path or whatever.
I think people would go and try to find him, and I think when they would do that, he would
Defend his territory. Yeah, that's what he was
Yeah,
doing.
right. Well, I mean, imagine it from his perspective.
That's what I'm
you
saying.
know?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What is that called? Because I was just going through Dan Carlin's
it
cons, and that
is,
one's really good
Supernova,
too.
I believe, in the
Supernova
East.
in the East. Yeah.
I'll
Really
have to
good
check that one out.
series.
I like Dan Carlin. I'm liking his stuff.
Dude, and he
Yeah.
goes back to like into the history of Japan and stuff. It's really interesting if you want kind of an overview of like how the empire got to where, well,
It's
where
like
it went.
4 parts. It's 3 or 4 parts.
Such a good podcast.
His breakdown of World War I was what inspired me to read on the Civil War. Like, because it was only after I listened to that and I felt like I was there. You know, because he goes into so much detail over the course of like 25 hours or something. And after you get to the end of it and you feel like not like you were there, but you know so much, and it's like it's visceral. And I wanted that experience again, so that's when I just got into it.
That's when I go watch Ken Burns, The Civil
Oh,
War.
dude, yeah, KB, classic,
Oh yeah.
classic.
It's hard for me to make it through some of his stuff. The Vietnam one he did, that one's hard to get through, bro. It makes me
Yeah.
feel sick to my stomach.
You know,
some of the stuff he goes into.
Yeah, that one, man. Like, obviously, like that's our parents' generation, obviously, and my dad, he didn't get drafted because he had bad psoriasis. But that's the only reason why he didn't, is he didn't have a college degree. Like he didn't, he was like a perfect candidate. Born in 1950. So at the height of the war, he was like 19. And he had a ton of friends that went. Like one of my mom's boyfriends before she started dating my dad was there. And, I didn't know much about it because no one really talked about it. But after I watched that and like I kind of took the whole thing in, I was like, whoa, I can't believe we don't have more of a, like, here is this huge event that happened that significantly affects everything that's still going on today. Like, you need to know about this because it contextualizes so many different things. I felt like I had been,
It's like still buried in our culture, kind of.
like
we
we
still
did-
kind of don't. Yeah, you see it pop up in movies every once in a while, but the scale
Right.
of like slaughter was pretty insane.
Scale
Like,
of slaughter. That was
hey,
the
we know
first-
they're out there somewhere, so go walk around in the woods until they fire at you. And that's how
Yeah,
you'll
or
find
you
them. Is
step
like
on 'em.
your point
Take-
man dies. That's how you find the enemy.
Take
Like,
that
that's
hill and then give it up again, and then take it again and give it up again. And hey, don't go into Cambodia because we can't.
Yeah.
Even though all of their arms and munitions are going up and down the Ho Chi Minh Trail. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So anyways, not to get into the politics of that, but
Now we
like
know why the hippies were.
right.
Now we know,
But that contextual, that was the first time where people like had a strongly adverse like reaction to a type of like, international engagement that the United States was the forefront player in.
Yeah.
And obviously that now carries into today. Like, so it's,
Oh yeah.
it's crazy. Everyone should know about it. Everyone should watch that documentary at least.
Definitely. It's so well presented. Ken
Yeah.
Burns, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why there's a whole effect
you-
named after him, basically.
Yeah.
He's a pioneer, man. He's a pioneer.
Did you also know that he's a man of quilts?
A man of quilts.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Ken Burns has a extensive quilt collection.
Wow.
Holy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Good for
a
him.
weird thing, but
I mean,
yeah.
I've heard of weirder collections before, so if because you get to make the quilts, you get to choose the fabrics.
I don't think he makes them. He buys them.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah, because
being
he
a documentarian, it's almost like making a quilt. You get all these different.
I think that's why he likes them. I think that's why he likes them because he buys them and they represent all these different eras of history and all these different cultures. Because
That's cool.
That's what people do when they make a quilt. They put their culture
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
That's pretty. It's just scraps, like making something out of scraps. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's the coolest shit ever.
Hey, everyone has their weird hobby, weird collection.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you'd know anything about that, Nick.
Nothing.
No.
His coin,
Just ignore everything behind me.
your
Nothing
coins
at all.
Are those the coins?
I got some coins back there. Yeah, I got some coins. Let's see which coin.
I got some coins back there.
Here's
Show
a
us
cool
your
one.
coins.
Here's
Yo,
a cool
Nick,
one.
I
Look
still
at
have
this
your
guy.
Roman
Oh,
ones you
sick.
gave me.
What is that?
It's a dope one.
Wait, can I guess before you tell me? Can I guess?
Yeah.
After
here, I got
based
it.
on what you've taught me.
Sure.
Oh, wow.
It's a Sestertius.
Okay. It's obviously Roman. It's late Roman. What is that? Ish. I can't read the year on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to. This one I'm not sure of the year because the inscription's pretty messed up. But see this little. I think that's victory probably there,
Okay.
and then you have SC,
Okay.
which
What does
was
that
their.
mean?
I believe it stands for just the Roman state. I think it's like Securitas Civilis or something is what I believe it
Sure.
stands for. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But it's a
Where
fun
was that
hobby.
found?
Good question, man. I bought that one on online, so I didn't
Oh, okay.
clean that one or anything.
Oh, gotcha,
but
gotcha.
I have had some time to get back into it with coronavirus. Like this week, I was just like,
Yeah.
man, maybe I'll clean a coin or two.
Dust
So I
off
did.
some of these old coins.
Literally polish
Yeah,
off
man.
a coin or two.
Aren't they worth more though when you don't clean them all the way?
Well, you got to clean them. You got to get the dirt off, but not the patina, because
Right.
you don't want to strip them down to the bare metal, because then it's like you could have made that any day. The age is what makes it obviously
Right.
valuable. So,
But you want to
So,
be
yeah.
able to read it, so you got to get the dirt off.
yeah, you want to just like take the dirt off and not like strip it down to the metal. So it's
Yeah.
hard though. It takes a lot
Wow.
of patience. So I seldom have time to do it anymore. That's why I just buy them sometimes, because I don't know. It's like a fun little hobby to dive into.
It's real, man. You're touching history.
Dude, for sure. You're touching history in a major way. And like people made this, they were the first like form of art that was widely circulated, the first form of almost social media. If you think
Right.
about it, with this coin, this guy is, I think it's Maxentius, or no, I think it's Maxentius, but he's basically saying, check it out. Here's a selfie of me. I'm the shit.
Yeah. Right.
So, and this gets broadcast all over the empire. It was almost the only form of communication that an emperor, besides maybe like, sending out announcements to the town crier. I mean, this was what people were using every day. So imagining the hands that this went through and like what the,
Yeah.
what was bought with that coin?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So
I
that's
wonder
why
how
I
many
like
likes that coin got.
right? Probably
How
a lot.
many
Like they just
likes
physically
that
go
coin.
thumbs up and then collect
And then-
thumbs.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to like be when you do clean them off. You're the first person to see that since it was probably, dropped in the mud by some Roman or provincial
Yeah, wow.
or whoever the hell. Like this guy I just cleaned the other day. I don't know if you can see him. It's really hard to see him, but he's kind of a motley guy. I'm gonna do a video with Daniel on this on the website, so I'll get more into the coins
Okay.
soon. I'll even
Cool.
clean a
Yes.
couple for you guys. Jake, when you're in town, if anyone else wants to clean them, I got a bunch, so I could give you guys a little
Dude,
lesson.
whiskey and coin cleaning. Count
Let's
me
do
in.
it.
That
Yeah.
sounds fun.
I'm
do it.
down.
Crew Cut Season 2.
There you
All
go.
right. Cool. Cool. Well, yeah, let's definitely do that. I'm
Cool.
planning on coming into town at the end of the month, maybe
Cool.
early May. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Sweet.
Man.
Coins
Coins
speaking
will
of
be
crew
waiting.
speaking of crew cuts, who has had trouble with this whole like week where everyone is out is Daniel. Because his content relies
Yeah.
solely on us being in the office. So yeah,
Yeah.
today he went up to me asking like if I could do like if we could just like
He's like,
anybody
"Do
else
something."
he's just like freaking
Can I film something with you?
looking for scraps, looking
Yeah.
for any scraps he can conjure up.
I think hopefully he has a backlog of footage, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can
some
imagine
of it's
he's sitting there like, what do I do?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, it's
There's no one
funny
in the
because
studio.
he may have dodged the virus because of how consistently he is working.
Daniel's still
Yeah, it's
working.
true.
That's
Daniel's
true.
That's
it's
been
like
our,
it's a
I'm
meme
sad
phrase.
that didn't make it into the Smush Brethren game.
I know.
Because
Yeah.
like
So
some of the
that's-
funniest jokes in that video were like, Daniel's still working.
Daniel's still working.
Daniel's still working.
The 24/7 live stream of Daniel in the corner as you play, just working. Yeah, I respect it.
See him with the desk in the background.
There's
All right,
only a
this
couple
is-
of us that don't play. So
and it's kind of like the catchphrase. If anybody's slacking off, he's like, "Hey, Daniel's over there still working."
Yeah. Yeah.
This is my homage to Daniel as I play us out here.
Slide whistle.
whistle.
Sorry, do you need slide whistle?
yes, we need slide whistle because my mouth is too dry to get a tone. Help
I know
us
that
out,
people
Matt.
ask for it.
Come on,
I know
man.
that people ask for a little more slide whistle.
If
That's
you
what I'm gonna
see
get.
a man out there working, it's probably Daniel. Just know that. There you go. If you see a wren out there working, he's probably getting filmed by Daniel. Again. He's working right now. Working at the beach, working in the field, working in them content fields. All right, thanks for watching, everybody.
That was beautiful.